what are the odds that our inflation will be resolved by the time the Fed has to make that turnaround that you're talking about? Because if it's not resolved, do we find ourselves sort of like we were in the 70s, stuck in this era where we're tightening, easing, because inflation just won't go away during the easing sessions. And so we got to tighten again to try to bring it back under control.
Yeah, I think you have to separate what the Fed can control and what they can't control. What they can control I think they can control the credit impulse from both businesses and consumers. What they can't control are supply side problems driven by bad policy. And we all know we're talking about energy, whether it's natural gas or oil or both. We have been following small NGOs and 16-year-olds to set our green energy policy. And we all want a transition to renewables to work. But when you actually take the science and the math to it, we don't have a transition policy. And what the administration in the US, and unfortunately what those in Europe are now learning the lesson of, is not having a policy is a dire consequence of poor planning. And I think that, you know, in Germany, you're seeing natural gas prices almost $200 an M. You're seeing 2023 power prices at $700 a megawatt hour.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, that's 14 times the 5-year running average, just to put things in perspective. So you're seeing things that are so ill-advised, and you're seeing Gerhard Schroeder and the people in Germany that have basically sold Europe to the Russians. And in the US, our green energy policy and our Green New Deal, I know everyone feels good about it. Hell, I run a private equity conservation oriented business. I want that as much as anyone, but you have to be pragmatic and set these policies. The Fed can't change the price of crude oil or nat gas. They can't do it. Right. The only thing that's helping them right now is they're causing such a recession that they might be able to affect demand a little bit. But what's really in need of fixing is the supply side. And the price is going to be the arbiter of fixing the supply side. There's still institutional capital coming out of the hydrocarbon business. It's not going in. Family offices and a few institutions are in, but on a net basis, there's still money running out because they've been fat shamed into not investing in hydrocarbons, right?
That's a great way to put it. It's a great analogy. So I've had natural resources investor Rick Rule in this program several times, where he's talked about even kind of forgetting the extraordinary things that are happening this year, that we have underinvested so much in CapEx in a lot of the traditional energy space that there are going to be shortages just due from that alone going forward. And of course, with the mismanaged transition, and I'm saying transition in air quotes here, that's just compounding the factor here. So getting back to my question then, so that's obviously inflationary, right? Which is, you know, persistently higher energy prices that the Fed has no control over. So what type of era do you see us heading into here?
Yeah, I think the energy conundrum is the hard part of this. This would be a quick, sharp recession if we had the supply side of energy figured out. Unfortunately, we don't. And so I think we can come back from a sharp decline to, let's just say, a slow growth baseline. But the slow growth baseline in the US will most likely be a multi-year recession in Europe. You know, you can't just imagine if your energy bill was $400 a month and now it's $5,000 a month.
Right.
Right. It actually doesn't work. When you think about median incomes and you think about the average person across Europe, the average person across the US, those numbers don't work. And so I don't know what Europe's going to do. If you've already seen subsidization programs pop up in places like France, in places like the Iberian Peninsula, where they're regulating caps to the input prices of nat gas into power plants, all that means is the governments are going to subsidize the losses. and again, doesn't solve the supply side problem. It probably makes it worse. So if we all decided that small modular nuclear was the answer, the green answer to this crisis, which in my opinion it is, we still have a 10-year duration mismatch, Adam. We got a real problem.
Right.
The first small modular nuclear plant to open in the U.S. will open in Jackson Hole or near there 7.5 years from now. It's fully funded. It's being built. It's permitted. All of those things. So that duration mismatch worries me.
If you enjoyed this video clip, click here to watch another one you should like.